ReefDudes is sponsored by Ecotech Marine and Bulk Reef Supply.
Today we're checking out something I've been waiting for ages, frozen fish food feeder. What's going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. So I feed mysis daily, and I've been doing this for probably the past 10 years. And I am stoked to finally have a frozen fish food feeder. So this is the aF4 from inD Aquatics. I finally have one. I'm super stoked that I can now automate this. It's a really easy way to mix in, phyto and oyster feast and mysis and everything and automatically feed it. So super stoked. So let's get this baby unboxed. Saying I've been waiting ages is probably an understatement. So I am super duper stoked. I think this is gonna be a really cool device. And I'm really excited to check this out. Now this can be standalone. You can use it with an aquarium controller like an Apex or Hydros, or they even sell a Wi-Fi adapter if you want to use it that way. It's essentially a tiny freezer. 12 volt, 12.5 amp, 150 watt power supply. We got our hosing, and of course the feeder itself. We got a nice thermal tank kind of computer style fan on the back for cooling. I'm taking a quick look around. This is a little drip tray on the bottom, just so there's any condensation somewhere for it to be collected. And we do have vents on both sides of it, so you do need to make sure you have airflow for this guy. And we have 6 feet of hosing. Now, I believe the black one is your water intake and the gray one's your food. Should have a little accessory kit in here. So it looks like we have a cleaning tablet and our tank mount. And our food and tubes go in the middle of this little cup. So that's what's gonna hold our frozen food. And it looks like we can do about 200 mils worth of stuff. We got a little universal tank mount. It is rubbery, so it can work on a bunch of different scenarios. And here's where we can put our frozen food into. Now, given it's a tiny freezer, this is actually pretty reasonably compact for a device, and that was a big selling feature for me. So this can be inside your stand, and you can have, these 6-foot tubes up and over your aquarium. You can feed it directly to the return pump, which is what I'm gonna do long term. Now, I am moving my tank in the near future, so I'm probably just gonna put it over the back rim for now and let it just shoot and feed into the MP60 and just let that disperse it through the tank. Once I redo the flooring and reset my tank back up, then I think I'm gonna set it up in the sump and let it feed directly to the return pump. But for now, I just wanna test it. So we're gonna start by giving this guy a rinse and we'll fill it up with frozen food. Now, basically, we just wanna rinse our lines through, just getting manufacturing stuff out of this one. So I'm gonna fill the reservoir with RDI water, or this one's just RO, and then I'll use that to put the tubes in here and essentially just flush water through it. Now, when you do plug it on, that's kind of gonna set your feeding cycle. So whatever time you plug it in at is when it's gonna feed on a 24-hour cycle. So I plug it in at, say, 5 p.m. It's gonna feed at 5 p.m. every day. So without a controller, it's a super duper easy way to set up. So I got these hoses into just a bit of RO water, and I got some in there, and I'm just gonna hit the feed button. Basically just let it to flush water through it. I'm guessing it's priming itself right now. The default recommendation is to have it on the one just before the snowflake. And this is kind of if you're going for like a week or so of food. If you want to push it up to 3 weeks of food, then you want to have it on the snowflake on the coldest setting. That's if you're filling it up kind of max runtime. Okay, so we're just doing the feed, and I put it on 50 for the quantity just to feed lots of food out and basically give it a good twist. So it looks like it's working, so I should be able to flush it out, and I put in some actual frozen food. Now I'm going to give it one last run with just no water in it, just to flush out the RDI water. Pretty crazy how cold it already feels from those few minutes it's been plugged in for testing. So I just picked up a new cutting board and knife just to chop up stuff. Now if you have a significant other, you've probably learned your lesson about not using kitchen supplies for fish stuff. So highly advise that you get a dedicated one for your fish stuff. And we're just going to pre-chop this up just so it dissolves and gets a slurry a bit quicker. Now, the other super cool thing about this is I love feeding the reef nutrition stuff. Oyster feast, Arctic pods, phyto feast, and oyster eggs are kind of my favorite ones. But I don't feed them as much because, you have to manually do it all the time. So being able to mix these in, I think, is game changer, which is super duper cool. Because we're getting all these little bits that are going to feed all the different little creatures in the tank, as well as all your corals. That, and get a little oyster feast in there. Phyto feast, this stuff's amazing. So great for all your corals, all your filter feeders. Starts to thaw and compress back into a bit of a slurry, just to kind of maximize things, and it can hold maximum 200 mils, so it's a good chunk. Now I did buy the Apex cable for it, the 0 to 10 volt, so I think I might just let it use the default 24-hour mode for now, and then maybe in a week or so after playing with this mode, I'll swap it and install the Apex cable. And I mixed up my super high salinity water, so just out of curiosity, I'm going to give it a quick test. High. All right, it's higher than it can read, so I think we're definitely safe for not worrying about freezing. Now, on maximum freeze mode, you do generally want to let it thaw a little bit more into a slurry. If you're doing on like the second mode, where you're going for more of like a week, 10 days or so, the second setting's fine. If you want to get the 21 days, you definitely want it on the coldest setting. So I think I can leave it on the second cold just for a few hours, just to let it like slowly thaw, and then I'll move it over to the maximum duration mode after that. And with our hoses, we can just poke them through this little mount so they pull up, push them back through. Make sure there's no kinks. When you're in there again, just make sure none of the hoses are overly kinked. Give a little push up and you should be good. And for now, I'm gonna just tuck it in right behind my controller cabinet and run the tubes up the back of the tank and over the rim. It should feed right in front of the MP60 and broadcast feed the tank. So I'm gonna let it sit for like an hour or two and just let the food thaw a little bit on kind of like the warmest cold setting. Then I'll turn down after that and we will test out some feed modes. And the other super cool thing is it uses tank water to rinse out the lines and flush it afterwards. So you don't have to worry about anything really getting funky in the lines. You'll still want to clean them, every month or two, but for the most part, it'll keep it pretty clean, which is pretty awesome. Oh, check it out! Look at that, the fish are loving it. That is freaking cool. So much food in the tank, automated. Now the cool thing about dosing it right into the power head is it disperses it everywhere. It literally went all over my tank within seconds, which is really great for the fish all getting food and make sure everyone gets a good bite. Now the other thing I like about this, if you don't have a controller or the Wi-Fi adapter, it is going to feed once a day at your preset amount. Now if you buy the Wi-Fi adapter, which is like 50 or 60 bucks, it's actually pretty reasonable, or you buy a 0 to 10 volt cable for like a Hydros or Apex or GHL, whatever controller you have, then it is going to let you control multiple feedings per day. So in my case, I'm really liking the idea of doing multiple small feedings rather than just one big nightly feeding. I think having like an afternoon and a night one broken up is going to be great for the fish. So I think that's how I'm going to set it up. So we'll see. We'll leave it a day or two on the stock setting, and then after that, I'll hook up the 0 to 10 volt cable. When I do a full up, I'll show you the code and whatever I'm using to feed that. But yeah, super duper cool. I think it's really going to dig it for the tank. So super duper cool new feeder from inD Aquatics. Again, that's AF4. If you do want one, you do want to support the channel, pick one up from the link in the description because it does help me out. Otherwise, guys, if you enjoyed this, be sure to like button. You need to make sure you subscribe. And if you want to automate your feeding schedule and frozen food, I think this is a game changer for the hobby. So super duper cool device. As always, guys, I'll catch you on the next video.